I put out over 1,000 videos in the past year alone, and here's what I learned: to make videos like this, to make videos where you have proof, you have promise on, you are gonna get something from hearing what I have to say, and here's the plan. So it is broken down in that structure, but not all the time. But you need to make sure that there is a structure. You need to make sure that there is a goal and there's a point to each and every single video. Now, this isn't always the easiest thing to do, right? Because this was a combination of last year, for about 5 months. I started around the end of July to create the long form videos, and then at some point, I think September, I introduced the shorts. And so, as September, October, November, December, as 4 months. Within that 4 months, using the shorts, I was able to generate over, like, say, 150 odd thousand views. And that's because I was pushing out volume, on a daily basis. I was pushing out, and if you think about it, it isn't really that entire 4 months, because December I was enjoying my life. I was out and about with my family, traveling, whatever the case. And so the point here is, volume negates luck. The more volume you do, the less luck you'll need. But also, volume is a great tool for articulating yourself better. The person that I get my cues from, which is Alex Ramosi, said something about the best editors, and he got it from Disney, which is the best editors edit before they record the thing, before they make the movie, they record before they put the thing out there. The greatest, most effective editing happens before, you put the content out, not in the processing phase. And so I also made the mistake of going into videos and chopping it up, right? Like, you go into videos, you say something, you don't mind if you are umming and ahhing too much, you don't mind if you're not articulating yourself particularly well, you don't mind if you are not structured, because you know that you'll find gold within it somewhere. And that is a way of approaching it. However, you need to have a point to what you're saying. If you have a point, then you do allow yourself to speak naturally, as I am now. I'm not reading off a script right now, but I know what I'm going to talk about. There are 1,000 things that I could talk about. I have interest in philosophy. I have a deep interest in business. I could talk about relationships. I can talk about, making money. I can talk about a bunch of things, right? Love cars as well. I can talk about all those things, but instead, the frame of this is my video creation experience. Now, in terms of the pieces of content specifically, here's what I typically do. When I talk about those 150,000 views in 4 months, when I talk about the 1,000, over 1,000 videos, I'm only talking about YouTube. I also put out, at that same time, I was putting out 5 videos a day on TikTok as well. But they were the same pieces of content, just framed differently. Obviously, TikTok, you want to have the music as well. You want to have this, you want to have that. And I used to post on IG, as well, but IG didn't seem as receptive to the volume. It works a bit differently. So anyway, so the point is, have something that you're talking about, and then dive into it. Make sure that your points can stand by themselves, and they don't have to be edited and put together. You take out this part, take out that part, because that is something that also ruins the organic flow. I think if I'm watching something, then I want to feel like I'm in that room in that moment. I want to know everything that happened in that moment. Sometimes I'll watch a podcast or something that's overly edited or whatever the case, which I don't watch those kind of podcasts, but say I do, and it's noticeably edited to the point where I know that this person was about to say something, they were talking about a certain topic, and then an edit cuts them off. Now, if they naturally cut off and they go on to, like, oh, by the way, that's one thing. But if I know that I was super interested in what this person was saying in that moment, and then they diverted from it, or the editor decided they wanted to divert, or they decided after the time, it's like, now you're breaking me out of the immersion, because I was immersed in this conversation. I was lost in it, right? Like I'm also thinking about what you're thinking. I'm traveling to where you're guiding me with your words, and then you cut me off, right? And so that kind of breaks immersion. That makes the thing not so fun to look at. That makes it, it makes it seem artificial. And I think in a world where we're artificially created things, artificial intelligence creating videos is a thing. People are going to lean more towards just the more raw, authentic stuff. And we can see that very clearly through the streaming culture and what that is, because the difference between recorded video that was made by AI, whatever, and stream, and then we have just videos that are made by people but edited in the middle, then what you'll realize is that artificial intelligence is not real at all. Recorded video is really what happened, but also touched up or edited or whatever the case, right? That is a possibility. And then on the other side, you have streams on the other extreme. And streams are something where you can not do very much. You can maybe just add a filter or something. But ultimately, what I'm seeing is what's happening in real time. And there's something that pulls people about that, about me being in the moment when you're in the moment. I want to experience what you're experiencing. I want to think what you're thinking. So that's a part of the learnings that I had in terms of recording these in the past year. In terms of people, how to get views, that type of stuff. I'm honestly not in the business of getting views necessarily. Stay with me. On one end, as I've told you, there are ways of artificially just pumping out as much content as possible, and the accumulation over time, consistency, compounding will equal to a tremendous amount of attention. That's one thing. But another thing is whenever you talk about things that are topical, obviously, right? Whenever you talk about what's going on in the world, whenever you comment politically, whenever you talk about Africanism, for me as an African, seems to do really well. Um, religious chat, like just those types of conversations, those tend to do well for me. The reason why I'm not leaning into that 100%, so this is going back to the I don't want views necessarily. The reason why I'm not leaning into that 100% is because I don't want to turn into someone who is creating for the sake of garnering attention. Because right now, my creative process stems from myself, my passions in that moment of time. And I don't want to be stuck in a situation where I've put myself in a box and now I can't talk about things outside of that box. Because I don't always want to, like, African is what I am. It is my core. It is my origin, imvelaphi yam. It's yeah, it's who I am. It's where I come from. However, it's not everything that I am. You know, I am also things outside of that. I also have, like I said, interests in business. So I want to talk. If I'm thinking business, for example, yesterday, I'm having this thought, and it's again about the deal flow thing, and I'm like, well, deal flow is very, it is the industry term for the thing I'm trying to create. So maybe I'll call it Flow Alpha SA. So, and I'm thinking about that and I'm like, okay, how do if I were to target this, if I were to, multi-phase launch plans, and I'm interacting with AI and I'm doing this and that, that's something that I'd like to present to you guys as well. Because as you can hear, I'm quite passionate about it. It's really what's going on. Whatever's really going on at that time is what I want to give you a peer into, not necessarily a pre-prepared script of, oh, on the 11th of August, I shall say, thou shalt not, thou shalt not edit thou video, lest thee, that's not really the wave that I'm going for. And so that is the avoiding of that, narrowing yourself to narrowly into one niche. I mean, you naturally, or if you're someone like me, you will naturally. I naturally talk about self improvement most of the time because that's what's on my mind. I naturally talk about business all the time because that's what's on my mind. I will talk about Africanism because I am African. I will talk about. Do you get what I'm trying to say? So you need to allow yourself to fill in your natural content buckets rather than having a pre meditated formula of I want 3 Africanism videos, I want 3 business videos, I want 3, and I'm going to do that every month. And I feel like if you do that, then you start to put yourself in a place where you're putting yourself in front of a camera and you're forcing yourself to talk about something. And I feel like people feel that. They feel it. You can feel when someone's being authentic. You can feel when someone isn't talking about something that they've done. You can feel when they don't want to talk about it right now. It's like, okay, I love this thing, but I don't feel like talking about it right now. There are days when I was recording this and my eyes were bloodshot red because I hadn't slept, but I had to record. There are days when, and on those days, I'll more than likely talk about passion. A video that did really well is I will accept nothing less than emperor, and that video went crazy. Of which in my mind when I was recording it, I was like, oh, this is gonna do terribly because people are gonna think I'm BSing and I'm not. That's you know. So in terms of okay, now here's another thing: what's gonna do well, what's not gonna do well. To be completely honest with you, there are a lot of factors and a lot of variables in terms of what does well, what doesn't do well. There are videos that the exact same video will do like 9 views on TikTok. It'll do 1,000 on YouTube. Some videos do 1,000 on TikTok, 50 on YouTube. You know, some videos do exceptionally well on TikTok, no views on YouTube. So in terms of what's gonna do well, I'm not saying it's a shot in the dark, but here's what I will say. What I will say is that's why you go back to the volume negates luck. Because you will learn over time what really resonates with this certain audience. Like I said on TikTok, there's going to be music to it. So if it sounds a certain way, there's a certain track behind it, it will do well. On YouTube, there is no music behind it. It's just me speaking to camera. And so what may sound awesome on TikTok just sounds corny on you, or whatever the case. And what I've noticed over time is that on one end, yes, you do want to you do want to garner the attention. You could, because that's feedback. That's people telling you that okay, no, you know what you're doing is valuable. What you're doing is something that I enjoy seeing. What you're doing is, whatever the case. But at the same time, you don't want to be the person who is leaning towards the things that get them the views purely, because then you start being influenced by the audience themselves. And the only thing that is incorrect about that is that there's no such thing as the audience. Those are all individuals. Groupthink never got anyone anywhere. There has to be a leader, there has to be a front runner, there has to be someone who has a unique idea and a vision of where they want to take this. And you have to be that person who has that unique idea and vision. Otherwise, it's the blind leading the blind. You're following them, they're listening to you. So who's taking who where? And so that's why I believe personally in taking them to where you want to go. In turning it to what you want to turn it into, manifesting your vision so that you may not only inspire but inform how they can manifest theirs. First couple of months, I think I was getting 100 views every month, 100 subscribers every month. That happened for 4 months in a row. I'm only on 526, 20 something like that right now. And that is a result of something that I think we all understand, which is when you start something, that initial phase, you will go from being terrible. Because I look back at some of my shorts, especially, and I'm like, yes, oh, the background, lighting, audio, like everything. But it's the power of starting, right? You just get started, and then you'll improve over time. And when you're doing that much volume, you improve very quickly, and then you plateau. So I'm here now. I'm at the spot now where I'm really having to. So it's the acceleration is the quickest. The learning, you learn the most in that first couple of months, and then after that you continue to learn and you continue to improve. And it is in this journey where it stops being this and it starts being this, where you're gonna find that you're in a dip, you're in a valley, and then Boom. You know? So it is the distance between here and here is very short, very rapid, and you gain a lot. You learn very quickly. Like if you picked up a guitar, you'd be able to pull strings and make sounds quite quickly. But to go from that to Led Zeppelin, that's gonna take a while. And so that's the phase that you get in after that initial kick, is you get into that phase of, okay, now let me begin to master my craft. Now, my craft is not the same craft as any other content creator on YouTube, because they have different goals, different aims, right? And I have mine. They have a different vision. I have my vision. And so our paces won't be the same, because our prioritization of the thing won't be the same. Like I'm only kicking out three shorts a day, and I'm kicking out Monday, Wednesday, Friday, still in terms of the long form content. And the reason for that is because YouTube is not a mainstay for me. It's not the main thing. I've not given up everything else in life to focus on this, right? Because that doesn't really make sense to me. To me personally, it doesn't really make sense for me. However, for someone else who isn't really interested in the other things I'm interested in and wants to focus mainly on YouTube, I promise you they would be further, purely because of volume. Purely because if you put out 7 a day instead of 3 a day, I'm literally doing half what I used to do. Right, I'm still doing decent viewage, stuff like that. I'm probably sitting on about 20ish k a month. On months when I like nail it and I'm consistent and whatnot. The lowest I've dipped to is probably about nine ish, close to that five. Um, and the highs were obviously when I was doing like 50, something like that, a month. So yeah, and hundreds. I've hit the hundreds before in terms of in a month. But anyway, right now we're just at the steady pace. So this also goes back to something, and I'll end on this. You have to sprint as you're leaving the blocks, even if it's a marathon. You have to sprint as you're leaving the blocks, just so that you can distance yourself from the pack and you can run comfortably. As soon as you distance yourself, find someone maybe sprinting faster than you, ahead of you. Other people are slower than you, and so you just hit open road. All you have to do initially, just start. It'll be messy, it'll be whatever, but hit open road. Now, as soon as you've hit open road, now we can find a pace where we can sustain it. And I think that's where I'm at personally, is sprinted out the blocks, put as much volume as I possibly could into it. And then life started up, things came up, other opportunities come up. And again, this isn't a mainstay for me. So I take the opportunities that are more in line with the main things that I'm trying to do within business, within my self development, etc. And with that, you start finding what pace is going to work. So now that I have these things that I'm prioritizing, I also have this thing that I'm trying to build over time. This isn't like a short term play, this isn't a quick come up for me. This is something that I'm planning to do for the next 5, 10, 20, 30 years, right? And constantly improving, constantly buying better equipment. One day is one day. We're going to be popping out in a studio. We're going to be having guests on our podcast. We're going to be, this is something that I just want to do it long term. And so I'm in it for the long run. I'm in it to win it. So I'm not really here trying to push out as much volume as possible all the time. So now that I pushed out the volume initially, seeing what's possible when you can do that level of volume, I'm finding my pace, and I'm going to maintain. And this is the pace to not just maintain, but to grow slowly but surely. And that's what's happening for me right now. So um, I hope there is things that you took out from this. Hope you at least heard something about the amount of volume that it really does take. I hope you heard something about the amount of improvement you can get from doing that volume. I hope you heard something about the editing or lack of editing concept, why you do it. I hope you heard something about the content buckets and not trapping yourself into something, but rather letting it be more spontaneous, although structured somewhat in terms of there needs to be a point to what you're saying. There was a beginning to this. There was a middle. I was saying stuff. This is the conclusion where I'm wrapping and summing the things up, and that's just naturally the thing that I've hit. There are no cues anywhere that let me know what to do, but it's something that you work on, you craft, you develop over time, and you realize that the minute things that you're improving on is maybe how I do my introduction. What exactly do I want to say? How can I hook? How can how can I make sure that I'm hitting the points that I want to hit throughout? And then how can I wrap it up in a quick, concise way that just puts a beautiful bow on it? Tell you to hit that subscribe button if you did in fact enjoy the video. Context on that. The reason why I only give one, the only thing I ask you to do is subscribe, and I don't ask you to subscribe, share to, because the person given many tasks is given none. The person given many things to do does none of them. But if you give someone one thing to do, then they're more likely to do that one thing. And so that's what separates, if what you'll notice, what separates the professionals from the amateurs is the amateurs will say like, comment, subscribe, and you'll do none of those things. But when you've gotten value truly from someone's video, you may like naturally, organically. Me personally, I like every single video I watch. I just like I go in if I remember to, like I'll just go in and swipe up or while I'm watching, I'll just because that's just something that I do. And some people also naturally do that, but ultimately what I'm trying to say is if you're watching something from someone and you're getting value from it and they ask one thing of you, then you're very likely to do that one thing. If you don't do it, that's fine, but you're more likely to act if you're given one action. If you're given three actions, then it just sounds like a part of your script, a part of your routine. You don't sound like you're serious about me doing that doing the stuff that you want me to do, and so that's why I ask you to please do subscribe if you did in fact enjoy the video. I hope you did get value from it. I have been Sage, standing on business, signing out.